change your mind. And I know it's me that followed you in blind. I could say that you didn't need, but you wanted me. Maybe I was wrong, even want wasn't anything. So if we had another chance, I would never let you steal my plans. Bring me back to life. Don't dig deep like you would have a clue. All I see is how I was a fool to see my heart skip beats thinking about you. Whoa. I could say that you didn't need, but you wanted me. Maybe I was wrong, even want wasn't anything. Yeah, I could say that you didn't need any part of me. Yeah, maybe it's not me, you should be the one on your knees. So if we had another chance, I would never let you steal my plans. Bring me If we had another chance, I would never let you steal my glance. Bring me back to life. If we had another chance, I would never let you steal my glance. Bring me back to life.
Alright, here we are as three. Last week was only 2 man, I think, all of the days, but now we are all here. Welcome.
Well, I am here, kind of. Since I joined this call 5 seconds ago, I'm not really prepared. But hey, that's maybe that's the best way to do it sometimes.
Yeah,
Have
if it
you
makes you
ever?
any happier, we haven't prepared either. So
Yeah, sure.
Just talk for yourself. I mean, I'm always prepared for everything. Like today, I was prepared to what do you call it when you like with your alarm clock? Like you put it 5 minutes forward. What is the thing in English?
Snooze.
Yeah,
yes,
you
no.
snooze it. Yeah, I snoozed from 7:30 until 9:30.
Okay,
So that was my achievement today.
very good. I just put
Um,
my alarm clock at 9:30 and I don't have to snooze. So
I
Yeah.
had a master plan to wake up early, go for a jog and everything, but that master plan wasn't so master.
yeah,
So
Happens. It's
happens.
actually funny about snoozing because I think I was like the world champion of snoozing, but I haven't done that ever since I actually joined this company. I think.
I mean, it's a really bad habit.
yep.
It really is, but
I really hate that. So I usually don't do that. I do it only if I like wake up middle of the dream and I'm like half awake and half asleep when I wake up. Okay, I have to snooze for 5 minutes so I can wake up like more awake.
sure.
I actually think that when I'm snoozing a lot, I wake up more tired.
Yeah,
Yep.
same. That's why I decided to stop doing it. I mean, it can still happen, but very rarely. Yeah.
Okay, enough of snoozing and sleeping. So the topic of the day is somewhat vague, you could say. It's
Yeah.
esports trends in 2020, and well, the trend seems to be that everything is played online. So
Yeah, but
that's
I wanted to raise this topic because the online playing has uh, make changes in the trends and like tier list in esports. So I think it's a pretty interesting topic to talk about because some of the games has been getting a good boost about the online playing and some of the games are going down fast.
Yeah, I
um
mean, I think it's in general pretty interesting that the games I follow mostly, I mean, we have more going on than usual, you know?
Yep.
Like, usually we have maybe one big event or so per game once a month, sometimes even like once every 2 months. And I feel like right now we actually have something that I would consider, quite a big event being played basically all the time. There's
Yeah.
barely any breaks even at all in CS:GO and Dota at least. There's like maybe 1 week break every now and then, but most of the time it's just running. It's pretty interesting.
Yeah, CSGO is stacked all the time, but now it can be
Yeah.
even more stacked because you don't have to travel and you can play multiple leagues at the same time. So
yeah,
CSGO
the
is so
only
fucking stacked right now.
the
Yeah,
only
for sure.
downside is that because some of the best teams are in North America and
Yeah.
there are some in Asia, that the only thing is that we can't have like people playing from one continent versus the other one.
Yeah.
But other than
For
that,
sure.
yeah, it's true that things are going quite well. And I mean, like now, for example, we have what Road to Rio. We have a DreamHack event coming soon. Home Sweet Home continues. Then there's some other leagues. So like there's Counter Strike going on 24/7, and
Yeah.
the viewer amounts are super high. But that's for all games, to be honest.
Yep. Most of the games are having very good viewership right now.
Um, Interesting question, or something that I noticed not so long ago was that Fortnite seems to be disappearing completely even.
Yep. And I think it's completely fault of the company because I don't know what they're doing. Like there is no hype around Fortnite as is usual. There is no competitions going on, like big competitions. There's like nothing to hype about, and streamers are disappearing and moving to Valorant and other stuff, the CS:GO and stuff. And I don't know what's happening because usually Epic Games has been pretty good on keeping the hype up and focusing on esports, but now both of them, I don't know, has disappeared completely.
The funny thing
Yeah.
is that so there are okay now if we're talking about trends in 2020, one of the biggest trends seems to be that a lot of people are saying that when the people who have tested and been playing Valorant is that it feels almost like Valorant was made to compete with Fortnite. That the gameplay feels really similar to the gameplay of Fortnite. And now it's kind of funny that we're saying it seems like Fortnite is disappearing. The game has 6.5 million people playing it at the moment. 6.5 million people are playing it, and it feels like it's disappearing.
Yeah,
Well, I
it's
wonder what that number was, let's say half a year ago. Like, because that's the only relevant thing. Of course, it's still a lot of players, but if it's gone down by a significant number, I mean, it's still quite huge. I don't really know how big the difference is.
yeah, but you have to always remember that Fortnite is played like six different platforms and not only PC. Like for like the both of the games are not only mobile. It's in every freaking platform.
Yeah, true, but it's even if let's say 60% are mobile and mobile users, when 10% console and 30% PC, 6.5 million people is still shitloads of
Yeah,
players.
yeah, that's for sure, and that's something that confused me because the player base is actually pretty good in Fortnite, but what is happening around it? It's mind blowing that they either they don't care or they don't know what they're doing because
We
it's
actually had an interesting conversation regarding Fortnite this weekend. I don't remember if it was on Saturday while we were on T Panda stream, or was it on Friday while I was chatting with some friends. But um, we were talking about Fortnite and competitive Fortnite to be exact, and like how it works in an esport. And the way Fortnite has developed is that it came to a point where being the best player is 90% about building. Like
yeah,
the person who's the fastest to build a cottage around you and to utilize that is most likely to win.
yep,
And when a game is supposed to be an FPS Battle Royale and it comes down to building apartments, you can understand why mature players want to go somewhere else.
yeah,
For
Well,
kids and teenagers, I would assume it's more fun for them. I've played Fortnite for maybe 2 hours in total. I just really don't like to play that game. I don't like to watch that game. Watching it is more enjoyable than playing it, that's
yep,
for sure.
definitely.
But I think playing the game is horrible. I just don't like it. Again, me not liking Fortnite is completely irrelevant. The game has 200 million players.
had
If I don't like it, well,
just adding.
yeah.
but,
But
but
still, I mean, Fortnite has. It's not like it's disappearing. I mean, obviously the younger audience will be there for sure. Um, but could it be that Fortnite as an esport might kind of the hype is fading? I mean, I don't think the
Well,
player base is gonna go anywhere, but I think kind of the massive hype around the World Cup and stuff. I don't know if how like they have to do something to get the hype back for
yeah,
esports perspective.
like
I guess
put a
so, but
100 billion there.
I
Yeah.
mean, because I kind of feel like, saying has the hype faded or disappeared. I mean, I don't even know if I would ever say that this hype, besides the World Cup, has ever really been a thing for Fortnite, even. Like, I don't know. It seems to me like a lot of people who are interested in Fortnite. It's not like they are trying to push the whole esports thing like that much. It's just it's always been a big or a massive game, but the hype for the esports part, I think, from my point of view, was only a real thing around the World Cup last year, and then
The hype
it's
was
been
built
nothing.
around that 100 million in prize pool. That was the
Yeah, then I
thing.
think it kind of has died out
Yeah,
by itself, or it wasn't even ever that big. Besides that one event, obviously,
yeah.
but I don't really know. I can't really speak of Fortnite because I don't really follow it. I haven't really played it either, but I don't know. It feels to me as it was quite expected that this was the way it's gonna go, at least to some degree. But let's see what's in store, I guess.
But
It
yeah,
doesn't really seem like they are trying to push the whole esports aspect that much either. So
yeah, and it it looks like that Fortnite is not the only battle royale that is having difficulties. I think the battle royales as esports are
yeah,
struggling, and actually that's a shame because I really enjoy watching battle royales. I don't maybe watch that much Fortnite, but I do like the idea of battle royale as an esports. But right now the Fortnite is disappearing from the esports map, and PUBG is having big difficulties right now. And actually, PUBG is kind of interesting because the changes for this year, and especially now that Corona is affecting things, that like the high level esports top teams, they are kind of struggling because there is no like big international tournaments available, and like and that the the organizations are disappearing because of the PUBG corporations doings last year, and that's like it's hard for top esports PUBG to come back. But in the same time, there is a lot more to play for like tier 2, tier 3 teams, and there is a lot of those teams still. So PUBG is alive in esports, but it's like top tier uh, organizations are disappearing, and it's struggling, but the tier 2 and tier 3 are like having better time than ever, I think. So it's like kinda going down fast, but like it at the same time it's rising, so it's kind of weird.
yeah, I think just like you talked about battle royales in general has kind of struggled. I guess looking at how popular they have been with player base, like PUBG was a massive fucking
Yeah,
hit as well for a while, but it never really took off as an esport.
yeah,
There's obviously been a scene. There's been pretty decent tournaments, but as in challenging the big esports of the
yeah,
world, they never really get there, and it's kind of it felt, at least to me, obvious that Fortnite wouldn't either keep on growing and being massive.
mhm,
Just looking at the fact like what happened to PUBG, right?
yeah.
So I don't know. It's just, of course, there's the obvious reasons why battle royales might not be working out that well as esports, but yeah, Fortnite is an interesting case, but I think everybody has expected Fortnite to fall off at some point from the initial like super high numbers they had.
Yeah, and I'm sure that the Fortnite will be around as a big game. Maybe not a
Sure.
big esport, but it will be around for years to come. It will be one of those big games that will likely never disappear completely.
Well, now that we're talking about battle royales, I just want to throw this into the game. I've said it before and I'll say it again. I personally think that Apex Legends is still the battle royale game with the highest potential when it comes to esports. The 3v3 gameplay mode and the way Apex is set, like when it comes from graphical aspects, all about it. I think it has the highest potential when it comes to esports from battle royale game titles.
I disagree. I think PUBG Mobile is definitely the most potential one. PUBG Mobile is fucking huge in Asia, and in like South America. It's
But
it's
that's the
fucking huge.
a but PUBG Mobile that's mobile, right?
Yeah,
It's only
but
mobile.
what I think that neither of these three big battle royales in PC won't make a big scene, but I think PUBG Mobile has possibility to do that.
All right, now that we're talking about mobiles, let's talk about mobile esports in
Yeah.
general. Well, it's safe to say that a lot of people, still I am one of those people, are still kind of not sure about the mobile esports scene. But one thing, obviously, it's we're living in the Western Hemisphere, and being from countries such as Finland and Sweden, the situation is a bit different. But
Yeah.
when we look at places like Southeast Asia, we have China, we have India. This is half of the fucking world's population, right? In this area, kind of. Um, and then when you when you put it like this, so in these poorer countries, when kids get access to a mobile phone and internet, the first thing they start to do is to play games. It's normal. It's what kids do, right? And so we have a generation of people who are growing up with like mobile gaming being as normal as playing football or chasing crickets. I don't
Yeah.
know. So mobile esports is already on the verge of having a larger, first of all, player base, and secondly, viewer base than traditional esports in. It's fun to say traditional esports. uh, than like
We
the
have
the
come full
PC.
circle, friend.
Yeah, the PC side of things. Well, definitely it's a full circle. Man, it feels so strange to say that. Okay, so we're just not gonna use the traditional word. We're gonna use PC esports and console. Well, console has always been kind of on the lower side of things, that's for sure. But when it comes to mobile esports, Mika mentioned PUBG mobile. Then we have, what is it called? Arena of Valor, the League of
Yeah.
Legends kind of whatever
And King of
thingy.
Glory also.
Yeah.
Yeah. They was it that Riot is trying to do League of Legends mobile now? Was it
Riot is
one of the
doing
projects?
it's gonna be published, I think, in the later this year. I think like fourth quarter or something.
Okay. So we are seeing that we have one of the biggest titles going in mobile from the mobile section.
Yeah.
I doubt Dota will have a mobile version. I don't think they will do it.
Me neither.
But future or a big part of the esports future is definitely mobile.
Yeah.
Now
That's a big
with
statement, to be honest.
Yeah, but I think it's true. But when you're finished, I have two concerns about the mobile
Yeah, I
esports.
have something to add here as well. But keep on
please,
going.
no, I'm all ears.
Yeah,
Um,
you can
okay,
go first.
I can go first and just get it over with. So I think there's just a fundamental issue with how we are maybe talking about this right now, and it's that we are bringing up like numbers. Look at how many players are on mobile, therefore it should be a big esports thing. I don't think that's necessarily true, just as I
Yep.
don't think Fortnite is a big esport because it has a lot of players. A lot of players doesn't make it an esport. And I think it might be the same thing with mobile. We already have a lot of people playing mobile games. It doesn't mean that those games are huge esports titles, even if they have, it's always flashy numbers. There's a lot of mobile games that has 10 times the players of Dota 2. It doesn't mean that, it's a bigger esport now. I don't think it ever will be. And it's kind of the same with console gaming too, right? Consoles are widely or very popular, but they still don't make for great esports in general. And I think that will be somewhat the case with mobile. Of course, it has room to grow, but I think it's just unfair to take numbers and say, look, this many people are playing, therefore it will be huge.
Yeah, I have two problems. They are pretty similar problems but I think those two problems are something we're having right now and we won't have in the future. But I think the biggest thing that is restricting the mobile esports right now is that the games are either pay to win or microtransaction games, which is like to do money, and that is not good for esports, or they are too basic, they are too easy to play, they don't have that skill cap that you need to have for like top tier competition. And these are like the problems we are facing in mobile gaming, because they also have to make money. If you make a game that is also like pointed in the esports direction, that this is the game where we can build an esports, it is like harder to approach for a normal gamer, or it is harder to make money with it. So this will be uh, there will be games in the future that are very good for esports, but right now I think the games are more consumer based than esports based. Like it's not made for competition, and I think that's something that's going to change in the future. But right now the games are way too easy or way too microtransaction heavy to be very good for viewing or esports.
Um, I don't buy that microtransaction thing completely. So let's say that we have games like League of Legends, Dota 2, CS:GO that are the biggest titles out there. All of them are free to play. CS:GO wasn't, but now it is.
Yeah.
That changed a year or two ago. All of these games make majority of their revenue from these microtransactions.
Yeah, but it's only like it doesn't uh, affect in the gameplay. But
Yeah,
in mobile games there is pay to win or pay to open.
Well, it's very different because it's like
Yeah.
a requirement in
Yeah.
mobile games to
Yeah.
pay and pay.
Yep.
The other esports games, there's no requirement.
Yep.
Of course, people still spend money,
Yeah.
but there's like a
Exactly
huge
this.
wall to get into those games, though. Like
Yeah.
because it is, you have to pay.
Yeah, that's my point exactly. That you pretty much have to use money, and like using the in-game money or real money is part of the gameplay in many of the mobile games right now.
yeah, I'm not arguing against that, but then again, we have to remember that, for example, if you want to have all League of Legends characters, you either need to play like a motherfucker or you need to spend money to buy the
Yeah,
champions.
but if you are competing in a high level, you've been playing like motherfucker.
Yeah, but then again, so I understand that, but for example, I haven't played Arena of Valor, for example, but is that a pay-to-win game?
I have no I don't know
I
anything
I,
about
I,
any
I,
mobile games. So.
I don't think that is, but I think it's too simple. I think that is too simple to create the skill gap needed for esports.
Okay. Because
That,
like
that,
one of those things
yeah,
Yeah.
it's one of the it's not maybe the both of these problems. They are either like they are aimed to make money, or they are aimed for big player base, so they are too simple to be an esports game. That is
one of the
either one of those.
one of the issues I see with mobile esports that when you have a mobile phone, like this is all you can this is all you operate with, right?
Yeah.
And then you have some buttons or whatnot, right?
Yeah.
That I don't personally, for example, I don't like playing games on my mobile. I
Agreed.
watch videos with it and I use it for social media. If I want to play games, I have a PlayStation or I have a mouse and a keyboard.
Yep.
But one thing that I've learned lately, that even if I think that the mobile games are boring, too simple, or if I don't like them because they have pay to win stuff. If let's see, I like Arena of Valor is a good example because they have big tournaments with a lot of money in them.
Yeah.
Arena of Valor have over 200 million players.
Well, that's I hate those numbers because they really don't say much, you know.
No, no, but you
If
know
you
that Arena of
ever
Valor is the mobile game that has actually tournaments with big prize pools.
Sure. My question would just be because throwing out like 200 million players, I hate that because how many people do actually play this game on a daily basis? I think that's much more interesting because there's so many people who just install the game one time and then they never play it. You know, like I'm not saying there's not many players in this game. It's just it doesn't give a picture of how many people actually play it. You know, I would just be very curious how many do.
Let's see. I'm googling here.
And I don't know. you know, as much as I'm obviously a PC gamer myself, it's you know easy to be negative towards mobile. I don't want to be biased. It just feels to me like mobile is so limited in what they can do. You know, for a MOBA game or like some kind of FPS game, you're just limited because it's a phone. You know, like you don't have the opportunity to make it as skill based or as complex as a PC game. That's what worries me. And then, I mean, what's I gonna say that? The only games I feel like could work as well on mobile as on PC or console for that matter is like strategy, card games, something like that. But those games are not very interesting or very popular as an esport anyway. So it gets kind of difficult, you know, to see mobile being more popular than PC games, if we put it like that.
I actually think pretty highly of mobile gaming, even if I don't like to play with my phone. I think that is area that is going to be much better than it is right now. We just need to have the few very good games for mobile, which are easy enough so people can play it, but are hard enough or complex enough for esports.
Yeah.
And I don't know. I think we don't have any right now. I haven't played King of Glory. It seems to be rising. It can be good, and actually, the new Riot Games MOBA can be also good, maybe. And I think the PUBG Mobile is actually a good example that it's pretty complex as is PUBG in PC. Also, it's not that much more like stripped out than the PC version, and it is very popular just because it has some skill cap. It's pretty complex for mobile game, so I think numbers are showing that people are going to play and they want to play more complex games, games that are closer to console or PC games. And we will have those. And when
So
those come, we will have big competition in mobile market.
so these numbers are from 2019. Wait, did I just lose it? No, here it is.
I would imagine the
So
numbers are higher now
in
because the COVID-19.
in May 2019, Arena of Valor had 13 million daily users.
Okay.
In Q1 of 2019, the app made 22.6 billion US dollars.
Well,
What?
so then, you know, the interesting thing, because obviously, like, this is not something you can even argue, or not even what we are discussing. Of course, mobile games are huge. The thing is just for me, if that game was that big already in 2019 with 13 million daily users, but it's still basically like the esports scene is still really, really far away from, you know, the biggest games, which is interesting. And I really think there's a few core reasons for that, and those core reasons I think will be the same in the future. Why mobile gaming will not, you know, be able to compete with PC gaming. It might get big, you know, and that's good. I'm not being against that or anything. It seems to me, especially maybe the player base in mobile games, they play for different reasons than PC gamers, you know.
Yeah. And actually, I think one of the problems with mobile esports is that it's hard to create a very good spectator mode for that, because now the tournament they have to show like point of view gameplay and stuff like that. They need a correct spectator mode to be broadcastable.
Sure.
And it's only now coming. Like now, we are starting to see the games that are having like ports to PC for spectating and things like that. But if it's purely mobile, it's very hard to broadcast as an esports. But you have to port it with the PC, so you can have a spectator mode in PC and gameplay in mobile and stuff like that.
Well, that definitely sounds like a pretty big limitation right now,
Yeah,
and something
because
that can
most of
be.
the games are like purely for mobile, and it makes it really hard for broadcast.
Yeah.
All right. So I think next thing up, we should probably talk about the next big thing, which obviously is Valorant.
Yep,
Mika, you have been testing the game
yep.
a little bit, so
Like
what do you think?
couple like dozen hour or something like that. I haven't been playing that much, but I've been playing enough to know what it's about, and I've been watching some tournament streams also to see what is happening. But I I I do enjoy the game. I think it's going to be really good game when it comes up. But I also think that the hype is like bigger than the game right now. It is definitely going to be uh, popular. It's going to be esports, but is it going to challenge CS:GO? I don't think so. Is it going to challenge Overwatch? Maybe. Overwatch is downward spiral right now, so it's possibility. But I think it will create like its own viewership, its own player base, and it's not going to compete with pretty much anyone. Like as you said before, the gameplay feels like Fortnite, and I think that is more like the like graphical things. It looks like Fortnite in some cases. It's like more cartoonish than like CS:GO or maybe even Overwatch. But I actually do like the style. I do like the cartoonish style. I enjoy the Borderlands games and stuff like that. So I do enjoy the visual side of Valorant, and I do actually enjoy the gameplay. There is some uh, problems with some of the agents, uh, the characters. They're like it's not balanced yet. It will be balanced when it comes out, but right now it's not balanced, and so the some of the agents are too powerful right now, and I think the they are going for the style that the gameplay is about shooting and the abilities are like helping out. They are like supporting the shooting. But right now there is one or two agents that are too heavily based on their abilities and not about the shooting. So it will be fixed, I think. And if they find the balance between the shooting and the abilities, it will be a great game. It will be a very great.
So here's my 5 cents. Obviously I haven't played it yet myself. I've been watching few hours of it. I've been reading about it. My first feeling was that I don't like the graphical aspect. I don't think it looks good.
Yeah, it doesn't look
Um,
good yet.
yeah, you can see that it's not finished. You can
Yep.
see that it's beta.
Yeah, but
Um,
it is the first phase of closed beta.
yeah. Then the second thing that really kills my vibe with FPS games is that they have these fucking wall hack abilities. And that just like I don't think you can ever balance that properly. I don't think wall hack abilities are something that you should have in an FPS game. I understand that You want to have the heroes or champions or agents or whatnot, and they have skills. Fine with that. Magic, dragons, all that shit. Yeah, whatever. But don't do wall hack abilities.
Is
Why?
this something that like one agent has, or
Yep.
is this
Yeah.
something common?
Yeah, one
Okay.
agent
It's
has they can shoot an arrow that has like what is called like ultrasound ability that it will show players around it like same way as you can see the players through walls as a spectator in CS:GO. They will show the players in that little area.
Sure. I mean, I don't think it's that you can't balance it, but I don't really like the ability in itself. Like from Overwatch, you had that as well, right? Not
Yeah.
a big fan of it, but
Yeah, I actually think it's okay, and it's even pretty good. I think it gives you a tactical advantage, and I like that because the same agent has two abilities like this. One is the ability that shows you the close proximity around it, and his ultimate is that he will show every player in the map, I think. And I don't like the ultimate. I don't like that at all. But I do like the basic ability that shows you the small proximity around the place you want to see. I think it's actually good, and it is like the grenades in CS:GO. You can only use it once or twice. I don't remember which one it is, and you have to buy it. So it's not like you can scan every corner you want. You can do it once or twice in a round, and you have to pay for it. So I think it's okay, but I don't like the ultimate that gives you the view of for a small period of time you will see everybody around the map. That I don't like.
sure.
I I don't think that can ever be balanced. Like, you're playing an FPS game where the main point of damage is shooting,
Yep.
and your opponent has a wall hack.
Yeah.
Why do
Well,
you do the anti-cheat and then you insert these fucking ability? I generally don't like wall hack abilities. I really dislike them because there's no way you can balance them properly. What, someone has a heal and someone else has a wall hack? It doesn't like it. It's
well,
not
you,
balanced for
I
an
think you
FPS.
can balance anything.
Yeah, you can balance it. It's not a
You
problem.
know,
Yeah,
I played World of
somebody can
Warcraft for
have
12 years. You can't balance everything.
but this
you
you can
can
balance.
just because they fail. I mean, that's
Yeah.
another.
Yeah, you can make it cost more. You can make it so you can use it once. You can make it even your ultimate ability, so you have it like every 4 or 5 rounds or something like that. You can balance it. It's not not that big of a problem, and I actually think it's good to have that kind of ability because it gives you like you can once like check something and you can see if there is someone lurking around, and I think that is good thing.
Well, just put it like this. If you are in 1v1, you win every single clutch because you have wall hack. If you
Yeah.
don't, then you're just a shitty player,
Yeah,
right?
if you know like if you are in a one v one situation, you can check like one pathway to site. You can check if like there is like 4 or 5 pathways to the site. You can check one of them. If he's here or he's not, you can eliminate one of the pathways. I don't think that's overpowered because
I
because you with that ability you can check like every pathway to the site.
No, but for example, you can check. I've seen you shoot an arrow and it shows an area, right?
Yep.
It reveals an area.
Yep.
Let's say that you're going on a retake. You know that okay, it's hiding on. You have 3 spots on the side that
Yeah.
let's say the T can be hiding on, or whatever. I don't remember the names of the teams, so I call them
Yeah.
T and CT, like
Yeah,
this
it's
stupid
okay.
Counter-Strike. Yeah, so you are CT and the CT guy is with the wall hack, and then you have the T guy who doesn't have a wall hack. You're
Yeah.
1-on-1 clutch. Um, you can throw the arrow on the site and it reveals pretty much the entire site.
Yep.
So then you know if the T is on the site or not, and if not,
Yeah.
then you just look where the bomb is planted and you know that there's literally like one place where this like other person can be. You can reveal pretty much the entire site with that ability.
Yeah, but whenever you see the bomb anyway, you will have like one or two possibilities where the opponent is
Well,
lurking.
let's say that you see the bomb and you have two abilities. You have two places where this guy can
Yeah.
be. You're on the site. You shoot your wallhack ability. One, there's
Yeah.
no person. Then you know where the guy is. So you win because of that. And I think it's not balanced. I've been talking about this a lot with Overwatch before with my friends, and it's one of those reasons why I really dislike Overwatch.
Yeah.
Is these wallhack abilities, because I don't think those are something that really should be in the game, because I think it disrupts the general gameplay too much. It
Yeah,
gives you a too big of an advantage. Even though
it's
small.
not only ability that disrupts the gameplay. You can
Of course not.
you can make walls around. You can if you know that your opponent is lurking possibly in that bad way. You can make a wall to keep him out of the sight. You can revive your dead teammate. Like there is other abilities that disrupt the game. Like pretty much every agent have some ability that disrupts the gameplay.
Yeah. But to me, wallhack is just too much. I've always felt this way, and I always will, because I think it's the one thing that in FPS games, it's the biggest thing that we're fighting against is wallhacks. And I just don't like the idea that the game developers think that it's a good idea to put a wallhack ability into the game, because that's one of the reasons why we hate, like, for example, I hate playing Counter-Strike because there's so many cheaters in there nowadays, because the game is free to play. You have to have Prime, and you have to have really high the
Trust
behavior
factor.
score.
Trust factor.
Yeah, my trust factor is good,
Yeah.
but half of my friends don't have because they've been smurfing or something. And all these games are infested with cheaters, and the cheats that people have is either aimbot or wall hacks, or both. And when every day you fight against wall hackers, I think it's just textbook stupid to use wall hack abilities.
Well, hey, in Valorant you can have wall hack too. It's a perfect solution, right?
You have a great anti-cheat and wall hacks. Pew pew.
Yeah, you have a wall hack that you can use once in a round and
Yeah,
in
I
specific
don't know,
area. I really don't see the correlation with wall hack here.
I don't know how we can compare an ability to cheating.
Yeah,
right? Because
exactly.
it's an ability, and I don't know. I feel like the argument is a little bit like saying, well, in Dota 2 you have Enigma, he can cast a black hole and nobody can do anything for like 3 fucking seconds, and everybody, five players are gonna be, like, that's how the game is, Other agents, I assume, have very powerful abilities too.
Yep.
So I don't think it's like, I can understand your point, but at the same time, if everybody has really, really powerful abilities, it all becomes a balance in the end anyway, right? Like, it's a control chaos, I guess. I don't know.
Yeah,
But
and,
then again,
right now there are more broken things in the game than the wall hack ability. Like you can place like walls, and there is certain areas in the map that you can place the wall so it's not at the ground, so you can have the wall like at like in a roof, like in same area, like same height as the roof are. And there is one agent that can levitate, so you can place the extra wall in the same proximity as a roof, and you can levitate up there, and you can have your AVP and see the whole map over the roof. So it's something that is a little bit more broken than wallhack.
Yeah, but okay, it might be that I'm just a boomer and I hate everything that's new. Possible, but it won't. Like, I will play Valorant eventually, that's for sure. I will try it out and whatnot, but I don't think I'll ever change my mind about these wallhack abilities.
And
I
I actually think that the wallhack ability is not overpowered in professional gameplay. It might be like a little bit hard to balance in a casual gameplay, but it won't be a problem in professional play. I'm pretty sure of that.
um
Well, I don't really have an opinion. I just think the game looks. I've been very hyped about the game since it kind of got announced, but I don't know. I just feel like everything's fine. Of course, it's not a terrible game or anything, but I think it will go kind of the same destiny as something like Overwatch eventually. I don't know. I really don't see it challenging any of the big esports of the world. But hey,
um so now that we've been speaking for 50 minutes soon, and it's actually been really interesting. I like the fact that we're going over these things from many different perspectives. It seems like with the COVID-19 that the world is going to stand still until the rest of the year. I mean, some of the restrictions will obviously be loosened up, but um, I think it's safe to say that majority of all esports will be played online for the throughout the year. Um, as the esports trends of 2020 are the topic of the day, I would like to hear 5 trends you expect to happen this year. Like 5 things that are going to happen in the esports world that are gonna be like something to talk about. And I mean like these things need to be, if we're considering them trends, something that's gonna be talked in the mainstream media and not just between esports guys. What do you expect that is going to happen throughout this year?
haven't
I
fucking.
can start if you want to think about this.
Yeah, go ahead.
Yep. First thing, sports games are going to be esports, and it's gonna be mainstream because now we are not having any real sports. I see massive peak in sports games like FIFA and NHL and NBA. It's going to be something that it's going to stick because now pretty much every European football team is having their own FIFA and PAS teams, and it's going to stick. I think the sports games are going to be uh, even mainstream esports, and I think it's going to be good thing because now the EA and other developers they have to focus on improving the game. They just can't send the new title every year with less than nothing. Like even like almost the same game every year with like minor changes, and they have to actually develop the games because it's going to be popular. Uh, what second thing I think will happen? There will be more online tournaments in high level in the future. I think some tournaments organizers are going to see the value in online esports now that you have to do it. So because this is my thoughts about this because there is going to be a big arena offline LAN events in like CS:GO and Dota in the future too. But there is also room for online tournaments, big online tournaments uh, between those and even like same time at those are played. So I think there will be again the online tournaments for big esports like teams and titles. Um, yeah, that's the two main things I think. If you have something you can join in, I can give my 3 other things after you.
Well, I don't really, I like the things that you brought up. I kind of just wanted to mention something earlier already, so I'll do it now about betting on esports because that's obviously something
Yeah.
that has been on the rise already, and I think all of this, traditional sports getting cancelled really will push esports betting. I think I have already gotten mails. I've gotten, whatever on betting sites that are basically promoting esports because it's the only thing that's going on pretty much. But I think there's a few interesting points that esports betting has kind of changed in a little bit, and I realized that a lot when we do betting tips. And there has been a lot of upsets. There's a lot of smaller teams that are doing really well, especially at least obviously I don't follow every single game, but in CSGO and Dota, this has been very true. A lot of small teams have, gotten maps of very good teams in CSGO or even won series, same in Dota. I think it's a good time as well for some of these, less known teams to actually show themselves, and it probably takes some of the pressure off to play these games online, and they can, feel like they can challenge some of these, world-class teams even. I think it actually will be a case of a few of these teams taking the step to the highest level. I think, for example, Viking is one of those teams in Dota that I really believe can do well. I'm not saying they're gonna win TI or anything, but they can take a step, and actually, when we have lands again, they will probably be there, and otherwise they wouldn't have, because now they got a chance to prove themselves. They have done so, and they have also built a lot of confidence in these results. With that said,
Can I
I
stop
think,
you there for a second?
yeah, sure.
On Wednesday, we'll actually have Celery from Viking.gg joining us in the podcast. So
Yes,
that's gonna
sir.
be interesting.
For sure. It's one of the teams. I'm not saying this because they are going to be here. Obviously, it's a team I've been talking about quite a lot the past few months, and I really like them. But to just mention something else about the betting thing is that I think, honestly, if you betted on every single underdog in CSGO, especially, for example, to win a map or so, in the last month, you would have made a lot of money, because these, that's the truth. These underdogs are really, really shaking up the best teams in the world, and at this point, you really start you have to look at that every time you place a bet. Like, playing these teams to win 2 straight maps is, honestly, it has been at least wasting money, and we have been playing way more and talking more about the underdogs getting good results. Let's say like ENCE against Fnatic, or yesterday, or not yesterday, it was a few days ago, Mouse Sports lost to Movistar Riders. Results like this is something that we wouldn't normally expect at all. But right now, it's not even a big surprise anymore when, let's say, if Astralis plays Havu tomorrow, fuck, I don't know. Havu can easily win a map, It's just online CS is really up and down. So is Dota, with that said. It's really a trend, and it's something I think that will continue. I don't think this is, that much based on these teams, the good teams, not being used to playing online. I think this is just the lesser teams. They have a way better chance to perform online, and online is just more random. It always has been. But it's something to really pay attention to, especially when it comes to betting. And I think playing on underdogs is really, really good right now, especially when sometimes the favorites get way, way, way too favored right now.
Yeah, and actually, my third point is like near to where you left things, because I think the teams, especially bigger teams, they will create some guidelines and structures around the online playing if there is similar situation in the future. I think there will be headquarters / gaming houses or something like that prepared for these kind of events, and then people are more prepared in the future. We are seeing now that that there is so big differences between the teams, that how they are handling this. Some players are playing from home, some players are playing in the same place. Some teams has headquarters with bad internet and they can play online there, and things like that, that you are not prepared. So I think it's gonna change how the organizations are structuring their teams in the future.
Definitely. It seems very obvious that everybody will make sure that they're, what they have is way better if something happens or whatever, or just in general. I mean, every team does play online,
Yeah.
and having a proper setup for that always is something that should be, it's not even a discussion. You just should have it. End of story.
Yeah, and right now there some of the teams are not having it. Like they're cutting corners in this area. Like the high level esport is played in offline mostly. Not like every tournament, but mostly it's offline. So you are cutting corners and cutting costs in a wrong area when you are like cutting costs in online gameplay.
For sure.
Another Monday, no battle pass in sight. Start riots on Reddit. We just might.
Yes.
It's been a pretty good hour again. I really like both of your thoughts. I don't really have much of my own. I rarely do. Well, I usually do, but in this case, I don't think I should add much in there. I mean, it's definitely a lot to talk about. Definitely a lot of things to look forward to. One of the biggest things I think at the moment is looking for kind of answers. There's a lot of uncertainties going on around everything, to be honest. I mean, a lot of tournaments being cancelled, postponed, played online. Esports is going to be bigger than ever this year. I don't know how much you. Well, I know that Mika follows at least to a certain extent, like the Formula One
Yep.
esports. They're doing amazing stuff with that. So
Yeah, that if we get the more points, the sim racing is going to it was going to be one of those because I think there is going to be a peak in sim racing players and competitors after this quarantine and even during it because I think so many of my friends and so many of like professional drivers they are buying the gaming rigs for sim racing right now, and they are using their time with sim racing and all other games. So I think it's going to be good for the sim racing community and every game around it.
yeah, I mean, they this was a few weeks back. They streamed a um, sim racing NASCAR competition on Fox TV
Yep.
in
Yeah.
States, and it had over 1 million people watching it.
Yeah, one rage quit also.
Yeah.
And and real driver lost his place in a racing team and sponsors and stuff.
Yeah, wait, what did he do?
He got slammed in a race like in the first few laps, and he was like, okay, fuck this shit, this is stupid, and why would I stay here and gets slammed in online and just rage quit and in a live broadcast.
Nice. What the fuck? I didn't
Yeah.
even hear about this.
Yeah.
That's fucking-
And he lost his main sponsor and probably the place in the racing team.
Well, the tables turned, huh?
Yeah, his
Fuck this
sponsor
shit.
tweeted out that we are looking for drivers, not quitters, and yeah. But it
So
was a
you-
great event. I watched the VOD about it and it was actually real great.
Yeah.
I liked it.
That was really cool.
Few words about the rest of the week before we wrap this up.
Yep.
So tomorrow is going to be very interesting podcast. We have Arttu Olvari Hämäläinen, a Finnish ice hockey / CS:GO caster from Pelaajat.com, and then we have Tommi Pitkänen from Elisa Esports, one of the all-around guys behind Elisa Invitational, the Blast Pro qualifier tournament. Arttu is known for his Mylly English, which happened, was it Katowice last year?
Yeah, I think so.
When they were doing a community broadcast in Finnish about the Katowice, but then another Finnish organization or teleoperator had bought the rights to have exclusivity in Finnish. So Pelaajat.com did the Mylly English broadcast, which was absolutely hilarious. And we have agreed that we start tomorrow's broadcast by having a beer together. So it's going to be 1 hour of Counter-Strike with Finnish casters drinking beer. So anything can happen. Anything.
Yeah, what could go wrong?
And on Wednesday we'll have Mr. T Panda, aka Riku-Mikko Kangasmäki, one of the rare Finnish bilingual casters. He's doing Dota 2, Rocket League, and PUBG casting. In this case, we're obviously going to talk about 1 hour of Dota 2. And we have Celery from Viking GG joining us for about 25 minutes or so. Unfortunately, he cannot stay the full hour because they're playing in We Play Pushka. But Celery will join us in the beginning and on Wednesday, and he'll stay as long as he can, and then we're just gonna do 3-man for the remaining of the episode. So Tuesday and Wednesday. Tuesday is CSGO, Wednesday is Dota. We have guests in the stream, so it's gonna be definitely a good one both days.
Yeah. Can I say one more thing about like for this today's topic? I just realized it.
Yes,
Like,
please.
we have been talking about trends, but I want to talk about something that is like going out of trend, and it is the fucking only esports game that is like that has possibility to play like internationally around the world right now, and it's the card games. Like, Hearthstone is going down fast, and the Legends of Runeterra, the Riot Games card game, is going to have some hard times when it comes up. Like, I think its release is this week's Thursday, and it's not looking good for it. And I think Riot has pretty much like gave up on the esports side of things in with Runeterra. So the game that has the time of its life in this COVID-19 environment, because you can play internationally, and there's no issues of ping or anything like that in that game, is having a really hard time right now. So that is something I just want to mention, that card games are going out of trend fast.
That is very interesting, actually, now that you mention it, because it doesn't make any sense when I just, heard you say it. It's like they should be thriving right now, but
Yeah.
because
They are
people
not.
don't like playing cards.
Yeah, I think it's too slow for this day. I think that games like Valorant and Fortnite and CS:GO, which are like the CS:GO is driving, Valorant is going to be big. I think they are very fast, they are very entertaining, and like card games, they are too slow. And it actually, Legends of Runeterra is even slower than the Hearthstone.
I didn't know that, but that didn't make me more interested in trying.
Yeah, I tried it, and as you know, I've been competing in Hearthstone in the past, and I didn't enjoy the Runeterra at all. I hated it. I played it for like 10 hours or something, and I've never downloaded it back.
Oh, that's not good.
All right. Should we wrap this up and return tomorrow?
Yeah.
Sounds good to me, man.
So, one more time, recap. Tomorrow, 2 casters, CSGO. Wednesday, 1 caster, 1 pro player, Dota 2. With that said, be back tomorrow on Wednesday. Thank you for watching and have a great week.
Yep. See ya.
Peace out.